Hey, fat boy today. Vintage Gillette. Soap today is Admiralty from Reef Point Soaps. They closed their doors a little bit ago, but their soaps are awesome. I don't know why that happened to them, but you know, they did. But fortunately, I was able to snag several of them, and I really enjoy their soap base as well as several of their scents. Feather is going to be the blade of this shave, and this one has had 33 shaves on it. The brush is a CravingShaving handle, black to dark blue, light blue, and then white. And it's a little uncomfortable because the steepness, the width here causes a steepness, and so when I'm holding it, it puts a lot of pressure on my fingertips, the pads of my fingers, and so maybe this is not all that ergonomic for me. However, one thing I learned that I like about this brush is this curve right here on this side, because it makes it nice and comfortable if I want to hold it in this configuration. So that's pretty cool. This is the Manchurian knot from Elite Razor. It's an expensive knot, but I got it used, and so I'm happy about that. It hasn't been super soft for me. It's got some backbone. It's massagey, and so it's definitely a good knot for some folks. But I've only used this one. This knot probably has only seen about 10 or 12 uses, half of them by me. And so I'm going to wait and give it a little bit more time to mature to make sure it lands in a spot where I'm not happy with, because it could very well. So I don't want to get rid of it and pass it on before it's time. I've had it soaking, not in a deep soak, but I just kind of got it full of water and set it to the side, you know, is what I did. And sometimes that's just as effective. I have a Manchurian knot from that darn Rob that actually benefits from a long soak, like half an hour prior to the shave, because it softens up those tips. As usual, my lather bowl these days is this Roger Quintero design. 3D links are in the description if you want to print your own. All right. Talk about the soap. Get a little water on my face. A little over 24 hours of growth. No, probably about 24. That's what we've got today. So let us uncap. Nice orange forward type soap scent today. I'm going to shake out, as usual, most of the water. Okay, pretty new. I don't even think I've tried this one yet. And here we go. I'm going to do a 30-second load. Started at 10, so stop at 40. You know what? Hey, let's try this new thing I saw called the upside down method. Let's see how it works. Kind of keeps the sides of your jar from getting all soapy and stuff. Obviously my hand is likely to get soapy. I can't watch the soap to gauge the performance of it, the way the lather is forming or anything like that. But that was interesting. Not bad. Good way to keep the jar clean. Alright, so that's what it looks like for 30 seconds. And let me clean off a couple things. Alright, here we go. So the description on the web said that this scent was a predominantly the Japanese yuzu, which is kind of an orange family type scent, and then a little bit of peppercorn, a little bit of pepper, and then that was on a base that was evened out, smoothed out by a base of amber, musk, and maybe sandalwood. Yeah, I think sandalwood. So some of those notes I really enjoy. So let's just see how it all works out. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. I looked in my past shaves with this soap base, and 2.5 to 3.5 teaspoons of water was what was used. One time I loaded it from the puck just like I just did. Another time I used a scoop to do a 1/4 teaspoon. And this is a very efficient soap. I didn't quite need to do the 1/4 teaspoon, so that's cool. That means you'll get more shaves out of your tub. And this is another great thing about this soap is, nope, mistaken. With this one you do get 4 ounces, but if you're using less per shave than say Barrister and Mann, and so the price back when it was available is very competitive, since you get more shaves per ounce per volume. So we got 2 teaspoons of water in it now. So in a sense, I don't really need to evaluate its performance in great detail, because since it's no longer available as a brand, you are only going to find it on the used market. And if you know about it, then you probably don't need me to tell you about it. But I'm really happy with the base. They did some really well crafted, well thought out. Aviator, Submariner. If you like bitter orange, you can look for Dragon's Blood. That one was really popular. I tried it. It was a little too pungent for me. Lather looks terrific. Three teaspoons in it now. This intern lip on this bowl was specifically put in to help keep this lather in. Not this lather, but any lather, and it works great. It's one of the best features of a custom bowl, in my opinion. This brush rest is really intelligent too, right there. And I like the interned lip actually more than the ridges on the bottom, because the ridges help a little bit. The interned lip helps a lot. Just take a feel. Yep, it's nice and slick as usual. Not tons of cushion, but it leaves a nice slick residue on my skin. And what do I have in it? 3 teaspoons. Since I had down that it was either like 2.5 or 3.25 teaspoons, I'm going to go ahead and stop now. I can always add a little bit more water later, but I don't want to overhydrate it, make it thin. I want to keep it kind of creamy. Looks terrific. Let's pull it up and kind of watch how it behaves. Look at that surface. Something to notice. Smooth. It's not jaggedy and rigid, so that's another milestone you can look for to see how you like your soaps. Shake it a little bit. Look at those long peaks before it dropped. Now it is holding its own weight. It's not collapsing in the bowl, so that's something to note as well. And this peak pretty much holds up its weight as well when poked to the side like that. Some soaps you need to get even more elastic than that, to where they kind of collapse on their own weight. So let's just go ahead and shave with this. I can add more water if I need to later. Very nice. And a little bit of water on my face. Just to help the soap to adhere and bond. And the Fat Boy, one of my favorite vintage razors. I love the way it looks, feels, handles. We're going to put it on setting number 7 because this feather I'm using, I've kind of discovered that it doesn't like, starting to not agree with / be uncomfortable during the first pass with some of my razors that are more mild. So let's put him in a kind of an aggressive setting and see what happens. I found that that is what I have to do when a blade starts to get older. Move it into more aggressive razors and try it in other ones that have different geometry and things like that. The mild razors usually have to get put on the shelf while I have high mileage blades. All right. Tips are nice and comfy. Still a backbone on there that's kind of, see how it pushes my skin up and down? I don't really enjoy that. If it keeps doing that, I'm likely to pass the brush on to somebody else, because right now I'd rather have comfort than the scrubby factor. The soft silver tips just don't do that to me, and they still scrub my face just fine. Not scritchy at all. It's not, I don't know, this looks just a bit dry. So let us add a little bit of water. A few drops at a time. And I do a scrubbing method like this, a scrubbing stroke, which leaves a little well right there that I can drop water into, and then I tilt my head to the side so that gravity can help me make sure that that water droplet doesn't just come out the base of my brush and down my arm. And now let's switch to the side, maybe put a couple of drops right there. Yeah, that looks good. Happy with that. So all in all, we added half a teaspoon right there to this face mixture. So then I'll add half a teaspoon to the lather, and we will, the whole bowl, and we'll mix that up before the next pass. That's in. There we go. All right, first pass. Feather blade, 34th use. There, that's better than it was the other day. A little bit tuggy, but not really a big deal. And maybe with a feather blade, I just wouldn't take it past 30 uses. I'm not a glutton for punishment, but I am really curious. I've taken a Nasset up to 150 shaves and it's not done yet. And so I'm curious how long I can make some of these blades last. And this is my marathon feather blade. And I'm discovering with this feather, a couple of razors now, if I open up the handle angle a little bit more, it helps it not to be as tuggy. Now the second, third pass is going to be smooth and comfy, I guarantee you that. And rinse time. This is definitely a different orange family scent, and I like it a lot. It's more mature. It is being balanced off by those other ingredients, the musk and the amber. I can smell a little bit of the amber. I can't really smell too much sandalwood. Maybe the musk. It's not a strong, super strong scent. I'd say it's medium. So I did add the half teaspoon of water into the bowl and mix that up. And this is a better lather than it was the first pass. Creamier. We'll keep the 7 setting. I usually don't shave it at 7. It's usually a little too aggressive for me. It's not as smooth, not as comfy, but with a nice sharp feather that's kind of been smoothed out with uses, it is a very acceptable setting. I can smell it, but it is light on my face now as I'm shaving. It's not a strong scent, but it is available. It's lightly there, and so it is enjoyable, and you are getting enough of the real character of the scent is coming through. It's strong enough to do that. It's unfortunate when nicely balanced scent accords are put together really with intelligence, and then when you get them on your face, they're so weak that you don't get that sophistication. All you get are some of the high notes, some of the more pungent notes, and it's just not as, it's kind of, the soap scent is not meeting its destiny. Let's put it that way. Sorry, I've been recording with my bathroom fan on, unfortunately. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's a little better, a little more clear now. So third pass, plenty of lather to do the job today. So that 30-second load is good, a good economical load. And here's what I have in the bowl afterwards. So I could do another pass if I needed to. I like to have that kind of margin. Definitely some touch up if I needed to do that. See, the brush is not pushing my skin around quite as much. Well, a little bit. And the tips aren't super soft. They're not silver tip soft. And some people like that. Some people don't want that cloud level softness. They want some, you're not going to get exfoliating action from a brush. That's just kind of a misconception, because brushes are just not that abrasive. Dermatologist got with somebody online and told him that, and kind of cleared that up. But you will get scrubbing action, and some guys really like that, need that maybe. I don't. I like the comfort and the luxurious feel. It's kind of what I'm going for. So we're keeping it at a 7 even in the third pass here. And again, right here with this kind of cross grain pass from the opposite direction. Right here, the hair's kind of turned downward a little bit, and there's some swirls and got to be really careful around there. And it took quite a while of experimentation before I figured out the best approach for that area. Yeah, getting some good whiffs of this soap on occasion, and it's just really nice. I think the yuzu and the pepper work really well together. And also with this shave, I'm doing some sliding. I am moving the razor across. A standard motion keeps the blade edge perpendicular with the direction of your stroke, like that. And so it looks more like that. But the slide is when you're, instead of a direction like this, you're tilting your head a little bit. The direction still stays the same, like that. And so it's like a guillotine type action or a skewed type stroke. And sometimes it can really help you get certain areas, especially in weird directions and things like that. Sometimes it can be more comfortable, more smooth for you, in addition to cutting better. Already pretty much done everywhere. Residual slickness is kind of low on this soap. If I were to get it wet, it would be there. But as the water dries, when the soap is gone, there's not a lot of residual slickness. So if you wait too long, you're definitely not going to want to go back over an area that is unlathered. Didn't have a problem with buffing today, though. You probably saw me go over a few areas a couple times. That's just fine because I did it quickly. So as we watch the feather get kind of into its old age, it's neat to see him keep its performance. The cut that I'm getting, the closeness is very nice. No length to be seen on the tips of my hairs, just the dots is what I see on my trouble spot area. Everywhere else it's even better. Really happy with the shave here. Comfort level was fine. Like I said, just a little bit of tugging on the first pass. Mitigated a little bit by raising the handle just a touch. So at a 7, it's still very usable by the fat boy here. I may branch out, try some different razors, some of the mid-range aggression type razors, maybe even move it up a little bit more and see what happens. But maybe I need to keep a checklist of the razors that this blade stops working in, so that I can always move on to the next one. I don't know. And when I say stops working, I mean just becomes a little uncomfortable. I already showed you how much soap we had left. We used 4 teaspoons in the making. We used 4 teaspoons of water for 30 seconds of load time. This brush, because the tips aren't super soft and because there are lots of them, it can pick up a good amount of soap. And for this brush, it looks like 30-second load is the perfect amount. Okay, so here's what it looks like after being kind of dried and stropped on a towel a little bit. Nice soft tips, just not crazy soft. Definitely a serviceable brush. If I was stuck somewhere and this is the only brush I had, I'd still enjoy it. It's a good one, and it pulls up that soap nicely. It's going to do that for any soap. A lot of density there. I do think I'll probably yank this knot, put a plastic washer in there, and then re-glue everything back. I use silicone, and that'll raise up the loft just a little bit more, and that will cause it to open up more. Give it a little bit, the extra length on the bristles will help them to have a little bit less backbone. That might put it in a zone where I'm really happy. In general today, I didn't really notice until I was cleaning the brush in the bowl here. I like to have the running water coming into the bowl. I have it tilted sideways so part of it runs out, and then that's where I really rinse and wash the brush at the end of the shave. And I did notice that, yeah, it was uncomfortable and a lot of pressure on the fingertips when I was doing it, but then I just switched my grip. I kept my 2 fingers down here under it, and then I had this one up here, and that was very comfortable. So my body may be getting used to this shaped handle, and who knows, maybe I'll keep it around. So we'll increase this loft. That make me want to keep the knot around, and then get used to the handle. And so this one may have a place on my shelf. Who knows? But I'm at an interesting point. Just a few years into my shaving journey, and the first couple years were spent with just a few brushes, and now I'm starting to get more, and I'm starting to appreciate their different features. But one of the things about brushes is, especially the bores, you don't know how they're going to turn out until you use them for a long time. And so if you get several in place, it can take you a while to work through them, to get them to a point where they're broken in. Even the badgers, you work with it for a few weeks. Generally after a few weeks, a badger is going to have stabilized. And so those you'll know a little quicker, but you got to work with them. And so if you get a lot of brushes like I have, I've just found good deals and things like that. Then it can take a while to work through. And so I've got this large inventory of brushes, I mean, relatively speaking, but others have more. And I'm still working through them. They're all kind of on trial. I expect in a couple of years, I will start dropping brushes like crazy as I figure out what I enjoy. That sort of thing. All right, so I'm really happy with this soap. The orange is not super dominant. It's definitely not any kind of candy orange. It's not bitter. It's not high and tart like some of them out there. Dragon's blood type of oranges. But it is being muted. I don't get too much of the woody note. That sandalwood is very, very minimal, to me at least. And so the amber is sweetening it up. I think that orange, the yuzu and amber is a great combo. I don't like amber too much by itself. I don't like when it's dominant. But the yuzu being an orange and then being softened by that is this great balance. By itself, it might have been a little too high, pungent, but then the amber balances it out. Musk. Yeah, I think I'm picking that up. Now that if I think about it, I think the musk and the pepper are really working well together. So I think this is a really, really well thought out scent profile. Not too many elements. It's not being overloaded by a bunch of little factors. It's simple, but they're all working well, and each has a job to do is kind of the impression I'm getting, and they're all doing it well. So top honors, top notch to that scent designer. Really like that. And maybe it's not a top tier base, but it's pretty darn close. I get great creamy shaves with this soap base from Reef Point. And the slickness is nice. It can also hold plenty of water. If you're a straight razor shaver and you need to really hydrate your soaps, they don't die very quickly. If you keep adding a little bit more water than you've seen with me today, it still stays highly functional. It just it may not have that creamy nature to it, and that's just fine for many guys. I did mention it a few minutes ago, but we did use up the full 4 teaspoons, 2 syringes of water for this shave. Water at this location, I believe, is fairly soft. So that makes for better lathers. It's possible if we have my hard water home location that I might want to load for 5 seconds longer, something like that, to kind of compensate. Usually just a little bit more soap is all you need for most soap bases. A little bit more soap is all you need for to equalize against hard water. So a lot of the top tier soaps these days, Icarus, Excelsior, maybe some of the Holy Cow stuff, is putting some more ingredients that are moisturizing to your face into their soap. To me, sometimes that can be good and bad. Good if you have dry skin. Good if you just really are interested in that kind of thing. Bad if you want your soap to be a soap, and sometimes you have to use more of that. With the moisturizers and stuff, you have to use more product per shave, so it doesn't last as long, so it's less economical, especially if you're going to put a balm or something on anyway. Whereas me, I kind of like a soap to be a soap. I can appreciate the additives and stuff, and sometimes it translates into a really smooth feel shave, and so in that sense I appreciate it. And this soap does, even with my oily skin, I'm feeling just a hair of dryness now. My skin's going to bounce back, so I could walk away with this from this shave with no problem at all, and it would my skin would just take care of itself. But if you have dry skin, then this one I would think would probably be, it would be necessary for you to follow it up with a balm or something moisturizing, some type of moisturizer. Like I said, really happy with the cut, and I've got my balms and stuff upstairs, so I won't know exactly which one I'm going to use, but just probably Stirling, something like that. I like Stirling. So for me, it's an economical soap. This one, it doesn't require the full quarter teaspoon when I'm scooping, and just the 30 seconds of loading is all that's needed to give me a good amount of lather. Not crazy amounts, and that's fine. Just an extra pass is what I wanted, and that's what I got. So really happy with the shave. Really enjoyed the scent. Sophisticated, like I said, interesting. Maybe not sophisticated. What I meant was complex, but enjoyable, and I was able to appreciate it, and I saw the function of all the different pieces, and I saw how it came together into something really nice, and I'm happy about that. So that's kind of what I meant by sophisticated. It's really kind of the wrong word. All right, we're good. I hope there was something in this shave that helped you out. I sure enjoyed it. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care and good night.